Hi, welcome to my channel where we discuss political, social and economic issues bothering especially the country Nigeria. So today we want to talk about something concerning insecurity in Nigeria. Back in 2003, when Boko Haram first struck, people thought it was just a mere exercise. And then in 2009, the upsurge continued. That was Boko Haram. And the people saw it, manifest. Not just manifest, people saw it grow to a very big extent. People die on a daily basis. In fact, as I'm talking to you now, so many people cannot access their farmlands. Some who cultivated in the farms went to, harvest their produce and they were killed in the farmlands. That is the state of our nation, Nigeria. And somehow the government seems unfazed. The way they manage the whole situation seems to be like they don't care. Because if they cared, then actions must have happened. Soldiers are dying daily, So many of our soldiers have fallen in the hands of Boko Haram and bandits. And the latest look of the news is when we hear that, these criminals, these terrorists are quote unquote rehabilitated, and then some of them are put into the army, put into the police, put into the various security agencies of the country, which beats my imagination and which makes me to ask, what is the root cause of this insecurity in Nigeria? So when we ask the question, what is the root cause of insecurity in Nigeria, then the very answer we need to get is that this is either state-sponsored or has a stake from some individuals who think Nigeria belongs to them. Because as one of the major generals of Nigeria, the former president said, any insecurity that goes beyond 24 hours, the state knows something about it. And as we are looking at it now, it doesn't seem different. Seems the state knows something about the insecurity in Nigeria, and then maybe by sheer act of complacency, it doesn't do anything, or they feel they have done enough. So anybody that dies now, because I was following X the last time, and I saw something very shocking. Something happened 7 seas away, the United States of America, and the sitting president of Nigeria, found time and energy to comment on what happened, and wrote a thread on X on what happened in the United States of America. Then, over the past 2 years or 1 year, we've been hearing soldiers, 35 soldiers died, this and that happened, and we've not heard anything from the Nigerian government. In fact, it seems as if it is swept under the rug, that people just die, people are kidnapped. Bandits are having field days around the country. Kidnappers, organ harvesters, because the modern one is now human organ harvesting. All of them are just like nothing is happening. And everybody just moves on. Because one of the major problems we have in Nigeria is that everybody moves on. No matter what happens, everybody moves on. And so today, we take a stop and we ask ourselves, what is the root cause of this insecurity in Nigeria? Remember to follow me, to subscribe, to like, to comment, to share, so that people all over the world will see what we are doing, see our efforts, in getting our country back on track. And people all over the world will also see that Nigerians like me and you, that we are not keeping quiet, that we are doing something, we are saying things, as they are, irrespective of whose ox is God. We are saying it so that people will bear witness to us, the posterity will look at us and remember that at least we said something. So kindly subscribe, like, share, and comment, and engage. I need your comments, I need your observations, so that we tackle this as a country. Thank you very much. So we continue. So What type of insecurity do we suffer in Nigeria? Let me count the insecurities we have in Nigeria. There are so many, but at least let me name a few. We're talking about Boko Haram, talking about terrorism. We're talking about banditry. We're talking about clash between farmers and herders. You know, in 21st century, 2025, people are still going around with cattle, entering people's farms and destroying their farm produce, which is uncalled for, which is wicked and evil in 2025. And now, some people can't even go to their farms again for fear of being killed in the farmlands. So, number two is kidnapping. In 2024, we counted the number of people who were kidnapped. Let me not talk about priests. Let me not talk about seminarians. Let me not talk about reverend sisters. Let me not talk about government officials. Let me not talk about everybody is unsafe about this. And then what is the government doing? After all, the police releases a press statement. Nothing happens. Next week, some other people are kidnapped. And then let me not talk about human trafficking or organ trafficking because that seems to be the order of the day now. On the daily basis, you see people being caught with human parts and nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. So people are now unsafe, even in their homes. You get a call now, somebody tells you to come here. If you are not careful, you go there, you're kidnapped. You go to meet a friend, sometimes you end up badly. So who is safe? And why is the government not doing anything about this? I will tell you. The reason is because I still suspect that this concentration of power in the center in Nigeria is a very big problem for us. Somebody like me would argue for, regional government. The regional system of government allowed every state to control their area. So many things were going well during the regional system when we had the eastern region, the midwestern region, the northern region, and the southern region. And everything was moving fine up until 1960, up until we decided to, do away with this and go for the, strict federalism that is destroying us now. But that's not the topic for today. So insecurity in Nigeria, how do we tackle this? If you ask me, I will say one thing. Number one is state policing. But I'm afraid in Nigeria, if we allow the states to control security, because what we are seeing now, all of us can see what is happening in those states, where people, marauders, take over the institution of justice. And till today, no state or national daily, makes it a national thing that a whole court of justice is desecrated like that. People are fighting before for their political gains. So if you leave the police in the hands of the states, that is a very big problem. But I think that's the only way for security in Nigeria. Because if we keep hoping for the center, for everything to come from Abuja, then things will keep going wrong. And then I believe that the time we had, community vigilantes worked really fine for us because the communities know their terrains and they know every nook and cranny of their communities. And when they have their own, community vigilantes, it really worked fine for us. And I think we should go back to that community, vigilante. Each community should raise vigilante and then they are trained, and then they are commissioned, and it's not just anybody, you just give anybody gun. It will be whatever is what doing well. So once we are doing that community vigilante, they should be trained and they should be properly documented to know who and who are giving weapons so that they don't begin to use, because we have this kind of scenario where people are giving weapons and at some point they begin to misuse them, use them for armed robbery, hire them to thieves, so armed robbers. So we know these things are possible and we can forestall them by doing proper documentation, proper training, so that we know who and who are being, sent out there as security agents. of the states or the communities. So I think that's the best way now. Number two is for us to get good governance because most of these insecurities are uh, out of poverty. The issue of kidnapping is most times some of them that have been caught and dealt with, some of them in prison now, they have their confessions seem to be pointing at one particular thing, that if they had jobs, if the society provided opportunities for them, they wouldn't be doing this either. So the government should do better because the Nigerian government seems to be complacent with just day-to-day running of the country as if it is a private business. Nothing concerns anybody. Why? At this 21st century. So once again, remember to subscribe, to like, to share, to comment. I like to get your reactions to some of these pertinent issues. Then the next one we should be looking at is proper equipment of our military. We've seen situations where our militaries were out armored. It's pertinent that you send our military personnel who have suffered for years to train themselves and to do, you send them into the field with not enough weapons. What do you want them to do? To go and be killed in the field. So if you want to send our military to get good equipment, this is what we should be investing in 21st century. Because every country now is, upgrading their military kinetics, and we are not doing ours. It seems as if we are still in the 1960s. We are still operating in you look at the military jets, you look at the military, everything is outdated. Why can't we go, move forward? Yesterday, I saw a clip yesterday of, one of the very important people who have been interested in education. I think his name is Alex Onya. He was there I think he was in Copenhagen, and he was showing the magnificent work some students did. Their research was to produce a car. You know, uh, you know, and I look at the Nigerian education. What do we even do with all these graduates we have every year? Every year there are 100,000, 200,000, 2 million graduates from Nigeria, busy doing nothing, because the system is just meant to. It's not that the students don't want to do this. They are eager, they are happy to do it, they want to do it, but who will sponsor them? And in fact, I read, when I read that yesterday, from Alex Onya's post on X, and then I saw a comment that if you do this in Nigeria, who will sponsor you? If you have such a skill, take it outside. So we've gotten to the extent where our best brains are going outside to be sponsored instead of being sponsored in the country to make do or make good of what they have. It's unfortunate. So if you ask me, how do we tackle insecurity in Nigeria? Number one is what? State security. Number two is community policing, vigilantes. Number three is that the government should do better and educate the youths. Because these youths, when I was small, I used to hear we are the leaders of tomorrow. I hear that always. And then now I'm in my 30s, with all my qualifications in education, I still look at it, and sometimes it seems like everything I have now is thanks because I traveled out of Nigeria. If I had stayed in Nigeria, I would be somewhere, teaching in the schools or doing one of the things, and receiving 25,000 and 30,000. Why can't we do things right? Why can't we do things right as a country? That is a big problem. So remember to comment, like, share, and engage. See you on the next one. Thank you.